Hi, this is Matt with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we'll be showing you how to repair your appliance. Remember, anytime you work on an appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. In this video we're going to show you how to change out the roller shaft. It's going to be a very easy repair. It should only take a few minutes to show you how to do it. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can click on the link below or get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. When you open up the package, you're going to get the new roller shaft. The main reason you're changing out the roller shaft is if as the bearing was going bad, it wore a big groove in the shaft. First thing we have to do is lift up the lint screen cover to gain access to the two screws. If you have the type of lint screen that has the cover built into it, just pull it out and remove the screws. Then we have to take a putty knife and about 2 inches in from each corner, there's a little locking tab that you have to press in and release so you can lift up the top. When you're pressing the release clip in, make sure you go above these two tabs and press in. If you go below them, you're not going to hit the release. Then we have to release the door switch wiring harness. Take your screwdriver and release the clip. Then we have to remove the two screws that hold the front panel on. It's a 5/16 inch hex head. You can use a socket or a nut driver. Now that the two screws are out of the front panel and the door switch is disconnected, we can take the front panel off. So you can pull it forward a little bit, and it actually rests on two little clips down at the base of the machine. So you need to lift it up. And there's one on each side. If you have the type of dryer that has two panels, the large main panel and the smaller access panel, you're going to have to use a small screwdriver or a putty knife, stick it behind the smaller access panel, and pop it out. Once you pop it off, there's going to be two door springs, one on each side. If you have those, take them off. And then on the bottom of the big panel, there's going to be a screw on each side that you need to loosen up so you can pull the panel off. Don't take the screws all the way out, just loosen them enough to get the panel out. In order to get the belt off the pulley, press the pulley towards the outside of the dryer and take the belt off the pulley. Now that we have the idler pulley off the belt, we can grab the belt and support the drum and pull it out of the front of the dryer. Now we have access to the inside of the dryer so we can do the repair. First thing we have to do to remove the shaft is take the roller and the clips off. So you can take them off with a small screwdriver. Once you get the clip off, the wheel should just pull right off. And then you can remove the rear clip. Once you have the wheel and the clips off, we have to go around the back and remove the bolt so we can get the shaft out. In order to access the inside of the back of the machine, we have to remove all the screws that hold the back panel on with a 1/4 inch nut driver. To access the rear of the dryer, remove all screws from the large panel, and then the smaller access panel can be lifted out of place. Now with all the screws out, we can remove this small panel so it doesn't fall off, and then take off the large back panel. In order to get the shaft off, we have to remove the blower housing. It's held in by 4 screws, 1/4 inch. So we'll go ahead and remove those. Now that the screws are out, we can pull the duct out. All you have to do is lift the bottom out and then pull the top out. Now that we have the duct out of the way, we have access to the bolt which holds the shaft in. It's a 9/16, so we can go ahead and remove that. Let's go ahead and take the nut and the washer off. Now that we have the nut off the back, we can remove the shaft and take the washer off. Here's the old shaft next to the new shaft. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. In order to put the new shaft in, we have to put the washer on and stick the bolt back through the hole so we can put the nut on the back. In order to put the nut on the back, we're going to have to grab the shaft with your pliers. Make sure you grab on the tip, not the point where the roller is going to go. So grab it and then reach around the back and put the nut on. Now that we have the nut in, we can put the blower housing back in. To put the blower housing in, go ahead and stick the top part in and make sure it goes up to the lint screen area, and then we can line the 4 screws up and mount the bottom. Now that we have the shaft mounted, the last thing we have to do is put in the clips and the roller. Alright, all you have to do is push the clips into the retaining grooves and put the roller on, and then snap the front retaining ring on. Now that we have the roller shaft installed and everything put back in, we can put the dryer back together. To put the drum back in, lift it up by the belt and guide it through the front panel. And then you have to set it down onto the roller wheels, making sure that you don't pinch the felt. Once you get the drum back on the rollers, you want to spin it and watch this felt and make sure none of the felt's folded underneath. Otherwise, your drum will leak out a bunch of hot air. So go ahead and lift up on the idler pulley and push it towards the side of the machine. Then create a loop in the belt. Which you can pull over the motor pulley. Now that we're done with the repair, we can put the front panel back on. Remember, the front panel locks onto these little teeth that stick out. So we need to line those up and then push the panel down on them. And while you're doing that, you got to remember to lift the drum up. And you may have to wiggle a little bit because you're going to have to get the drum to line up with that front seal so the panel pushes on all the way. So you may have to wiggle the drum a little bit to get it in all the way. Once you have the front panel on, you can go ahead and put your 5/16 screws back in and attach the front panel. Once you have both screws in and the front panel secure, we can reconnect the door switch wiring harness. When you're reinstalling the front panel on the type of jar that has 2 panels in the front, you have to first put the main panel onto the front, setting it onto the 2 screws, and then tighten those screws down, and then tighten down the upper screws. Reconnect the springs on both sides if you took them off. You can go ahead and slide the kick plate back onto the lower tabs and rotate it back in and snap it into place. With the front panel back on, we can lift the top back over and press it into place onto the locking tabs. Once we have those in, we can go ahead and line up the screw holes for the lint screen. Now that we're done with the repair, we can put on the large panel and the small access panel. Just go ahead and lift it into place. So you have to line it up and set it on the pipe. Once you have it lined up, you can take your smaller access panel, take the small access panel, stick that little tab in the slot, and then put this one screw in, and that'll hold it in place while you put in the rest of the screws. Now that we're done repairing the appliance, we can plug it back in and take it for a test spin. Thanks for joining us for another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. Check out our other repair videos on our site, Facebook, and YouTube.